Hello and welcome to another installment of the Oral History Project. My name is Jason Cox. I'm here on behalf of the Keizer Points of Interest Committee, and got a couple of firsts today. First of all, this is our first interview with two folks. I'm here with Ada Mae Hurd, who is 92 years young, and with her son Gary, who is 68. And now, Gary actually represents a first in that I believe he's the youngest person we've ever interviewed on this program. But I think he's going to have a lot to share with us today because he has really had a front row seat to the way River Road developed from the 1940s all the way up to through about 1970, 1971. Lived right on River Road. Can you tell me about where you lived?
4200 block, just south of Membran Drive.
And so what exactly is there now?
A couple of businesses. The home that I was raised in, grew up in, still there. There's a painting family out of Silverton that purchased the property, and the home next door, the Murphy home, and of course the businesses are still across the street. They were there for quite a number of years, and there'd been, of course, businesses, homes taken down, and businesses replaced with the homes, and so there been quite a bit of progress.
Oh, I see. I can imagine. So, Ms. Hurd, you moved to Keizer around 1941, is that right?
Yeah.
What was it that made you and your husband want to live in that particular spot?
I don't know. That's just the one we chose. We just liked that area, and we just, it was kind of in the middle, and we just liked it.
So you had family that lived in Clear Lake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also in Salem, as I recall, right?
Not so much in Salem
Okay.
as out in the country,
Sure.
area.
So kind of help me visualize, what River Road looked like from, the 40s and the 50s. And I imagine it's quite different than it is now.
The narrow road, no sidewalks or anything, of course, and the houses were not real close together, really, and everybody knew everybody, and
Gary, what was it like riding your bike on that? River Road was gravel when you were
Gravel
going.
on both sides, yes. It was a little scary at times. Cars going back and forth, but no, it was. Rode quite a bit through up and down River Road, school and all, in the school days, and then summertime, and spent a lot of time though, basically off on both sides of River Road, where friends of mine lived, and both towards the river and on the east side, Cherry Avenue side. But a lot of things changed when they, of course, widened River Road and put sidewalks in, did a 4-lane out of 2, and just made a country road into a small city, and that's how things started growing.
Oh, sure. Now, where did that fit in kind of the timeline of? I guess what I'm asking is, did the businesses come before the road, or did the road come before the businesses?
I was thinking about that. I think the roads came in, and then the
First.
businesses that started tearing down houses and replacing them with the businesses, and that's kind of what opened things up for Keizer area.
And Miss Hurd worked for many years at Orchid's Grocery, which was, for decades, a staple of River Road.
right across the street from where we lived.
A nice short commute.
Oh, it was wonderful. But I didn't start to work until the kids were all in school. 3 kids were in school.
It was really too close because she kept an eye on me right across the street. If anything happened, she'd run across the street and take care of business.
No, I can't imagine you did anything that needed to be taken care of, did you? No, never.
And I knew Sam, and he was a great person. He was really great.
So you worked for Sam how long now?
18 and a half years.
And so what were some of the other businesses that the two of you remember frequenting kind of in those times?
Her father had the Chevron station at the corner of Cherry Avenue and River Road in a market. And he had also built some homes south of there. and lived in one of them, and my aunt and uncle lived in another. And then he had a cherry orchard right across on the west side. So he had some property there. And the reason why they built at 4195 River Road, the 4200 block, was because her father purchased the property there. And it was approximately, what, an acre size of the property? I think it was acre or thereabouts. Pretty good sized piece of property.
Yeah.
And at that time, back in the early 40s, he purchased it for $10,000.
Wow.
They built their home, and I was told by my father, they built the home for less than $4,000 with a full basement. And of course, that was a few years ago.
So were you the first family to live in that house then? It was built?
Oh, yes.
So what did the house look like?
It was one story with a basement. And we had a kitchen and a living room and 3 bedrooms.
Single garage.
And the garage. And then we put on another bedroom where the garage was and built a carport on the other side,
Opposite
on
side
the
of
north side of the
garage.
And what was your husband's name?
James.
And he, what did he do for a living?
He had a service station.
Okay. And that was down in Salem, or was that in
Salem.
Keizer?
In Salem.
Okay. This might be more for Gary than it is for you, Miss Herb, but what are your memories of Keizer School?
Well, when I started there, it seemed awful big. And they had to add it on, of course, the library and the school. They moved from Keizer, from where they put the shopping center in there. I had several classes in that building, and going back through there years later after I grew up, and the halls seemed very small, but they were pretty good size there when I started in the first grade. Went through all 8 years there, then 1 year at Parish, and then 3 years North Salem, and graduating in '61.
So what were the things that growing up that the family did for fun, recreation, that sort of thing? I know you were in a camping club.
Yeah, we belonged to a camping club. And
Prior to that, we camped. Wasn't in
and
a club.
fished.
Wasn't in a club at that time.
And fished. And we also had a house over at on the coast,
Devil's Lake.
Devil's Lake, yeah. And we'd go over there and stay. And
Father built that in 1951.
Oh, nice.
That's where I learned to water ski on the lake there, Devil's Lake, and in fact, my uncle, or brother, built out of South Salem High School, built a boat, 14-foot wood boat in shop class, a runabout, and it really turned out real nice, and that's why I learned to water ski over there. When I was 13.
I was wondering if you could slide me one of those pictures over there. We were talking about we had talked about recreation, and one of the things that came up was bowling. And I'm going to hold this photo up for the camera, and I'm wondering if you could tell us who all's in this photo.
Well, my father is kneeling on the right-hand side.
This is him?
Yes. And then my mother's uncle, Rex and Ray Dutoit. Now, Ray Dutoit had a shell station next to Cummings Lane. And then on the behind him, of course, is his brother Rex. And then the other two gentlemen are just friends of the my dad. And I wasn't really that familiar with them,
Okay.
who they were. But
And
I do remember seeing them at the Town and Country Bowling Alley.
So this was a league at Town and Country then?
Which, by the way, my mother's cousin built that.
So when about was that? Do you know?
Late 50s, early 60s.
So did you end up going to the family bowling alley much?
Quite a bit. Of course, it wasn't family at that time. My brother-in-law and sister have it now.
Oh, okay. And that's who is that?
Don and Ann Leibold.
I see. There's one other photo I'm wondering if you can slide over to me, and this one's a real classic.
Yeah, that's an oldie.
So if you could zoom in on that, Miss Hurd, why don't you tell us? Is your mother or grandmother in this photo?
I can't see.
Grandma
okay.
Smith.
Um,
Grandma Smith's on the left.
Is this her right here?
Yes.
yeah, that's Grandma Smith. And this is Grandma Dutoit.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mother's mother.
Oh, okay.
And
that there
that's
is-
my dad's mother.
Uh-huh.
Effie Boyd is in the back.
And
Go up with your finger to the
who?
Effie Boyd. Right
Oh.
up. Right.
That's all right. I need to provide a little context to what we're looking at. This is the Clear Lake Women's Quilting Club
Yeah.
from the Clear Lake Evangelical Church. We
Yeah, that's
thought
right.
this was, 1930s probably? Or 20s? 20s or 30s? Is that what we decided?
Somewhere along in there, I think, would be
I see.
Yeah, I don't know
a
about
date
that.
on there at all.
Because the grandmas look pretty old there.
Okay. Well, in any case, it wasn't yesterday. That
It was,
much I
it
know.
was when I was in grade school.
Oh, okay.
I know, when I went to Clear Lake grade school.
So, as people who are have lived in Keizer a long time know, flooding is part of the experience, part of the fun. And so, I understand that you got a little dose of that in the 40s.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it rained real hard and the river raised, and we had a kind of not exactly a ditch, but a low place between our house and the next one, north. And the first thing we knew, it was flooding. And our basement filled up with water, and we had a mess. We had a sawdust furnace, and we had a big mess.
So, yeah, I can imagine a sawdust furnace
Yeah.
make quite the mess when it
Yes,
flooded, huh?
yes.
Gary, what was, over the time that, from say when you were a little, a young child to when you moved out after high school, how would you say River Road had evolved from from that point to when you moved out of the house?
Well, I moved out in '62 when I got married a year out of high school. I don't know, it didn't seem to really, I didn't really pay too much attention after that because I was away from it. I wasn't there full time. And
But we moved out before '62.
you moved out in '71. I moved in '62. I was the last one to move out, my older sisters, but they moved in '71 to move out to Quinnerby Road with a mobile home
I see.
where she is presently living.
And so you live in Keizer to this day, right, Gary?
Yes, I moved back, and I've been here again another 26 years.
Oh, okay. So what made you want to come back?
My home. I like it here, and grew up here, and trying to see, make sure that it doesn't get too out of hand, and the way things are going and everything. Just kind of keep my eye on it.
Who were? I want to go back a little bit. What during that time that you were on in the house on River Road, there were two wars: World War II and Vietnam. Can you describe how either of those affected your family, or did it?
Either one.
Not really. My husband wasn't drafted.
He was in the National Guard down in San Francisco, where he's from. And
Of course, we were concerned about it, and everything, but as far as my family was concerned,
I was reclassified twice, so I didn't have to serve. I almost went in the Air Force, but instead I got married.
So how did those affect? Do you remember any of how that affected the community in general? Particularly Vietnam. You were more of age, Gary.
It really
didn't affect
didn't
it.
affect it that much because you'd hear about it, and that was about it. It wasn't a whole whole lot that it did to the area.
Sure.
Lost some school buddies and whatnot over there, but and some relatives and who fought there. But I didn't really notice any particular big change as far as.
So going back to school buddies, who were some of the families and friends that you spent time with, or that you spent time with, Ms. Hurd, when you were raising your family, or Gary, when you were growing up?
Well, you worked for one, Floyd McNall,
Yeah.
Trailways.
Yeah, Trailways down by, used to be Myron Frank's. And, oh, I don't know, we just went to church with different ones, you know, and we tried to keep in contact with each other, and
That was Keizer Community Church,
Oh, sure.
yeah, right in Keizer.
which is still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
So were you here when you had already moved up north a little bit? Gary, were you here when the city incorporated?
82, I was in 82. Boy, I drew a blank.
Where was you when your dad died?
82. Well, I was working over at the coast,
Mm-hmm. So what were you doing on the coast, just out of curiosity?
selling timeshares.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And you own a business to this day, I believe.
Yes, I do.
Well, what else thought
It's
we?
18 years.
Very nice. Well, what else should we? We're about ready to wrap up here. Anything else that? What haven't we covered that people ought to know about Keizer's history?
Well, I just like to see it continue to go in the right direction as far as I remember it, from when I came into the picture and
It's home.
it's home, late 40s, or excuse me,
Yeah.
early 40s.
Yeah,
Remember
it's home.
basically when I started school, and that's when things kind of really became,
Sure.
in my mind.
Well, until next time, my name's Jason Cox. Again, on behalf of the Oral History Project, you'll see all kinds of these online at keizertv.com. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.